Alright, so I started a new job as an automotive salesperson, an automotive mechanic, and my job today was quite interesting because the good thing I like about this job is that it means that I'll meet a lot of clients and a lot of people from diverse backgrounds, and this is also a good thing because you tend to share information and you tend to understand people from different perspectives. Now, I met this guy today, and he was a very interesting guy, and we kept on talking. And one of the things that I realized was that in doing customer service, you definitely don't want to share your personal life with anybody who you just meeting. So, and this was the mistake I made today by sharing my personal life with this guy, and he appeared to be quite listening, but at the end of the day, it appeared that he got offended at some point, which was typical of someone who has just known you and trying to hear you out. So this is one mistake that no one should make in their customer service, at attention or customer service. So quite alright, he was giving me a listening ear, but at the end of the day, I realized that it was a bad idea to share your personal life with a client, especially the one you just met. Okay, so and on another part, I also realized that automotive mechanic is quite interesting as you tend to meet a lot of things per day, and you have to see a lot of problems on the car every day. And one of the problems which we solved today was the idea that so Toyota has their sumps. The sumps get faulty. Not the sump actually, but the screw which the sump is carrying always gets quite leaking. So the threads try to worn out and wear out, and this causes a lot of leakage from the sump, and that was one of the problems we had to solve today. And one thing I like about this job is the fact that I always have this opportunity to solve problems every day, and it's quite fascinating to me. And being someone who has probably a short attention span, I tend to do very well trying to solve problems because I don't have to pay much attention to some of these problems and before solving them. So it's quite a straightforward profession for anyone. And speaking of short attention spans, I got to realize, or from a research that I did recently, I got to realize that some people suffer from adult ADHD without knowing it. Now, I'm not saying that I am suffering from ADHD, but then I just realized that there's this lack of attention that I get sometimes, and I get deep into thoughts. But again, it's not a sign. I haven't really gotten any diagnostics, and although even if it's not a good thing to self-diagnose yourself and all those things. But at the same time, I also would appreciate the fact that this job gives me the opportunity to tackle problems with a lot of time, and I don't have to start getting myself having several thoughts or exceptional too much thought into things. I got myself studying or learning software engineering, and then I realized that I also love software engineering, but one thing with software engineering is that it meant that I had to be thinking too much. I had to use a lot of brain power, which is not very good for me because I feel like with much brain power I tend to have depression. So I just get anxiety from too much brain power. So that's also one thing that anyone who is a software engineer would agree with, because you tend to think a lot about your code, and even when you're sleeping, you tend to have your code in your dreams, and you have to be thinking about code not working and how you can debug this thing. So this is also why I dropped that idea of software engineering, because one way or the other, it's a good thing. It pays well, although not in this part of the world, but it pays well in Western countries, and that's why I showed interest into it. And I got really a hang of it, but the only thing is I got also anxiety from thinking about code. So that's why I had to drop that idea of becoming a software engineer. Maybe some other time when I get mentorship or or things, better opportunities, I can maybe take advantage of that. So some of you may not also know, but I'm also an aerospace engineer. So being an aerospace engineer in Nigeria is quite fascinating because I feel like you do not really necessarily have anything to do as an aerospace engineer in Nigeria, because Nigeria's aerospace industry may not necessarily be that active. But at the same time, as an entrepreneur, you could also start up something in the aerospace industry. But as of this time, it's quite challenging for anyone who is an aerospace engineer in Nigeria to necessarily have anything to do in Nigeria. I mean, because the only thing we have according to aerospace in Nigeria is just the Nigerian aerospace and space program thereabout. So, but you also do not have much access to such ministries, because it's a federal ministry. Unless you know one or two people there, then you can have access to that. And there's not much, publications of vacancies in such federal, agencies. So that means that you need to know someone before you can get access to jobs in those agencies. So, but as an aerospace engineer in Nigeria, also you have other options, which could mean you start up your own firm, maybe a consultancy, or you could as well you go into any of the aerospace branches, and then you can create an opportunity for yourself there. But I can assure you that that's not quite easy for most people, because speaking of being easy, I feel like the university system does not equip you to have that entrepreneurship mindset even before graduating. Yes, most universities now are beginning to inculcate or incorporate the entrepreneurship in their programs, but you can agree with me that not much of this is obtainable in most people who are graduates of universities. But at the same time, we do not, there are people who also have these natural entrepreneurship mindsets, which show up each time they need opportunities. So that means that they don't necessarily have to search for much on things to do to make money. So whereas others need to think out of the box for them to come up with ideas to make money. So just so you know, my name is Emmanuel, and I just love to talk about different things, ideas which come to my mind, and also how interesting the world can be, and my personal experiences. So I share them here on my channel, and if you find this quite helpful, please subscribe and follow me, and hit that notification bell so that you get notified each time I drop a video. Right, cheers.